Michael Savage. Afternoons 3 to 7 on Talk 910 KNEW and online at 910KNEW.com.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
Yay, Teddy for president. Bush cronies tied to auto bailout is the lead story. No one seems to be able to follow the dots or connect the dots and understand what Bush really is doing here. But if you actually look at the bailout, that is the so-called loan of the two auto companies, you have to see the connections. Because it turns out that John W. Snow was United States Secretary of the Treasury under George Bush, but he's been chairman of Cerberus since 2006. Cerberus, as you well know, bought 80% of Chrysler from Daimler AG for $7.4 billion in 2007. Why would they have bought a failing company if they didn't see this coming? You think they don't know what's coming downstream? In other words, they buy 80% of a company that's not doing well. Do you think they don't see this coming the following year? Dan Quayle is chairman of global investments for Cerberus Capital Management. I don't understand why I have to be the one to point these things out. It should be the leftists doing it or the conservatives doing it, but they all have their own agendas. I have no agenda whatsoever. None whatsoever. Here's some other stories I haven't gotten to yet. California Supreme Court, so-called, allows Good Samaritans to be sued for non-medical care. I swear to God, you have to see the story on my website. Being a Good Samaritan in California can cost you everything you're worth. And that's because of a moron in a black robe on the Supreme Court. One moron on the Supreme Court, one dunce, Justice Carlos Marino, is the man who wrote the opinion saying that although the Good Samaritan had good intentions in rescuing a friend after an auto accident, the Good Samaritan did not perform her tasks properly, caused the accident victim to suffer further injuries, and the Good Samaritan can be sued for damages. It's incomprehensible that a moron like Justice Carlos Marino could stay in a black robe after this. But then again, I live in the state of California where the homosexuals will soon prove who runs the state. And, of course, the people are worthless in this state. They'll do nothing. California Supreme Court allows a Good Samaritan to be sued. You have to read the whole story because you're not going to believe what you read. You're going to say, wait, let me read it 3 or 4 times. This has been going on for a long time. And it's a 4-3 ruling that allows a 27-year-old Los Angeles woman to go to trial in her suit against a friend who pulled her out of a wrecked car and in the process allegedly caused injuries that left her permanently paralyzed. Now, I ask you, what kind of country are you living in when a moron like Justice Carlos Marino can say, well, you may have meant well, but you didn't do it right. You didn't carry your friend out carefully enough, so you can't dismiss this suit, and we're going to have her sue you. The court majority said that the law that the friend tried to dismiss the suit with, well, it's too complicated for me to read it to you, but I'm telling you, it can't get any worse. Yes, it can. It can get much worse, and it will. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com, Toledo, Ohio. This and any other topic is fair game. Jim, welcome to the program.
Good evening, Michael, from Toledo, the home of the Jeep, owned by Cerberus.
Oh.
Yep, it was
the home
born
of
here.
the Jeep. The home of the Jeep owned by Cerberus Corp.
Chrysler.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it was born here in World War II. Michael, if I remember properly, George Bush 41 was heavily involved in Cerberus.
Oh. Oh. So, in other words, the current president, although he's bailing out the auto industry, may be bailing out his own family?
Exactly. And, of course, Dan Quayle's there, too, so something is smelling.
Well, as you well know, we have such a justice system that I'm sure the proper authorities will get to the bottom of this. You know that, Jim.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the proper authorities, yeah. Jim, let me send you a copy of Psychological Nudity. I'm going to give them away this entire hour to anyone who gets on the air. Stay on the line. I can no longer guarantee them for Christmas, but you can still order them for years to come. By the way, we're through it because I can't guarantee, no matter what I do, that you're going to get it for Christmas. Santa cannot deliver it in time. Maybe. I doubt it, New York City. Donna, you're next up on the Savage Nation from WOR. What's on your mind?
Michael, I listen to you religiously every evening, and I just want to call and say thank you. Merry Christmas. That's right. I said it. Merry Christmas, and God bless you. And, Michael, I was listening the night that you announced that you were going to stay on the radio, and it was the one bright spot in a very, very dull year for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, because, Michael, we need you more now than ever, because when I listen to you, I feel as though it gives me hope and ammunition, because at least I can see through the clutter of what's going on, and I tell everyone.
Well, that's the thing. It's the reason that keeps me going. In other words, I know I can't make a difference because the corruption is so great. The amount of money is so overwhelming. The government is so broken down that I don't think I can make a difference. However, at least we can talk about it. We can still have the freedom. We still have the freedom to talk about the evildoers within our own government. And I'll say it like it is. The evildoers within our own government who are destroying this great country and destroying this great system. It's the last freedom we have. But, Donna, I have a terrible fear that that's also going to be attacked very shortly, and we'll wind up the way Mexico is or some other despotic nation. I don't want to go there. Thanks for the call. I should have given her a book. Did you like my Teddy doing Jingle Bells? I thought that was fun. How do you feel about the California Supreme Court, so-called, ruling that a good Samaritan who tried to rescue her friend can now be sued by the friend for damages because she didn't rescue her properly? I never saw anything like it. How do you feel about Hillary Clinton for the Secretary of State position now that we know that Bubba was raking the money in from the ancient lands of Arabia as though it was his personal ATM? How do you feel about that? You think Hillary can still do an honest job? Yeah, all right. Sure, she could do an honest job. It's the same way Fix News does an honest job on jihadists amongst us, since they're 18% owned by Arab money, by Prince Ali Wali 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 Ali Baba. Since Prince Ali Wali 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 Baba owns 18% of Fix News, it's why they never talk about jihad, if you notice. If you actually study how many times Fix News covers stories about jihad, you'll see it's very low. And that's because they don't want to offend Prince Ali Wali 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 Ali Baba, who owns 18% of Fix News. It's the way it works. And it's the way it should be. They're not a governmental agency. They're not supposed to be fair. They don't have to interest you with fairness. It's a private enterprise. If they want to report only positive news about Saudi Arabia and jihad, they can do so. Don't be so shocked. Mike on WTNT, welcome to the Savage Nation. Topic, please.
Hey, Mike, I want to talk to you about bookmakers. We both grew up in New York. Let me tell you something. You know, wise guys that did the old stock scam, the treasury scam, in the old days they were selling some bonds, and they went to jail 4, 5, 6, 7 years. You got your finger on this. You notice everybody who's doing the country in came out of Harvard.
Yes. Correct. If they don't have an A, E, I, O, or U at the end of their name, and they all went to Yale, and they're bigger crooks than organized criminals ever were.